Welcome to the Angel Rewatch, a spoiler-free retrospective podcast on Angel. I'm William.
And I'm Derek, and this is a podcast for Lullaby, originally airing November 19th, 2001, written by Tim Minear. Holt immediately traps Angel, stringing him up with the help of his demon lackeys. He questions Angel, but doesn't believe anything he tells him. Outside, in the alley, Darla is going into labor and losing her mind. She lashes out at the Angel Investigations team, and then starts crying. Holt flashbacks to finding his dead family, and things get even worse. While his baby son and wife are dead, his daughter has been turned into a vampire by Angelus and Darla. Holt stands vigil all night watching, and in the morning throws her out into the sun, killing her. At Wolfern Heart, Linwood tells Lila and Gavin that he will blame all of this on them, and claim to have no knowledge. Frantic to cover her ass, Lila goes to the Hyperion, where she runs into Holtz. She tells Holtz about the whole soul thing, and Holtz is shocked. While they're distracted, Angel gets a hold of a grenade and uses it to shoot himself out into the elevator shaft, leaving an angel-shaped hole behind. Holtz runs out of the hotel after Angel, but Lila, alone in the Hyperion, takes a Nyazian prophecy. Outside, the demons attack everyone. While the humans fight, Darla mutters herself in the car, and then jumps into the driver's seat. She crashes into the demons and speeds off out of the alley. Angel comes out, and the alley's safe, and not a single face blasted off his body. In the villain's regroup corner, Holtz is upset that Sajan didn't tell him that Angel has a soul. Not that he feels guilty about his revenge now, he's just hunting her different prey. Lila gets someone to interpret the prophecy, and finds out it has yet another meaning. The prophecy didn't mean birth, it means death, which established that Angel has officially run out of ideas when it comes to prophecies. Angel Investigations goes to find a safe place for Darla to give birth, while Angel goes to find Darla. She's on the roof of a building, and she tells Angel she can't give birth to their baby. She loves him too much. He's giving her a soul, and once he's gone, she won't be able to love him or even remember that she loved him. Angel tries to comfort her, but Darla knows the truth. Once the baby is born, she'll be evil again. Angel Investigations convince Lauren to give them shelter at Caritas, which is just reopening. Lauren agrees and fires his workmen, who apparently haven't connected everything they promised. Lauren tries to do everything himself, so Caritas will be protected. Angel and Darla arrive, and everyone's thrown off by Darla's nice behavior. They quickly discover that the baby is dying, and Darla can't bring it to term. Angel's distraught about learning this, but Gunn tells him that this might be what is supposed to happen. This might be the powers finally stepping in. This hurts Angel even more, and he goes to talk to Darla in the back room. She can feel the baby is dying and doesn't know what to do. Lauren manages to get the protection spell to work, but everyone is bummed out because Gunn was sipping on that truth tea. Then Holt shows up. Obviously no one recognized him, and Lauren sends him away, inviting him back for the next night in the grand reopening. As Holtz leaves, he begins to hum. Lauren reads him in that moment and understands what is about to happen. He rushes everyone out of the main room as Holtz throws a bomb from the upstairs and into Caritas, and Caritas explodes yet again. Lauren takes everyone to the back room and tells Angel and Darla they need to leave. When Darla finds out that Holtz is pursuing him, she thinks it makes perfect sense. After all they did to him, this is only right. Everyone bashes down Lauren's walls, and they go into the alley. Darla can't move any further, and Fred and Angel stay behind with her as everyone goes to get the car. Holtz is slowly stalking through the burning Caritas, crossbow in hand, as Darla lays on the pavement with her dying child. She realizes that her son is about to die at any moment. She tells Angel he's the one good thing that they did together, the only good thing. So she grabs a piece of wood from the ground and stakes herself. As Darla dissolves to dust, her child lies there on the pavement. Angel picks up his son just as Holtz finds him. Angel stares at Holtz as he holds his crying infant in his arms. Holtz points the crossbow at Angel, but slowly lowers it. Angel leaves with Fred and his son and gets into the awaiting car. Sajan throws a hissy fit and asks Holtz why he didn't kill Angel and take his revenge. Holtz says that he still intends to keep his promise. He will show no mercy. And that's the end of the episode. What a fun time.
I don't know what it is about me, but I tend to like all the downer episodes.
I didn't say I didn't like this. It's just a downer.
No, it certainly is. And that Holtz, he's pretty intimidating for a short Englishman.
Mm-hmm. I will show no mercy. I like Holtz. My fear, I'm very nervous about Holtz.
Do you think he's just going to turn into kind of like a one-note Terminator
he could,
kind of.
And that's my fear. And I don't know. I like his theory about the Angel has a soul, so therefore his revenge is even going to be even better because he's taking a whole religious angle for it. Because he kills Angel, and there's nothing that Angel suffers after that. He's just gone. Now he can send him to hell.
Right.
So I like that.
Yeah, he has a very righteous plan.
Mm-hmm. My fear is that it'll become so righteous that I'll just disconnect from whatever kind of mission that if he is given proof that Angel has changed in some way, because I'm not sure why he lets him go with his son, besides the fact that Angel looks like a wounded animal at that point, and maybe Holtz has enough honor in him that he's not going to kill Angel at that moment. Because that's like killing Bambi's mom in front of Bambi.
I mean, maybe he in that instance sees something not quite evil. I don't know. It's a really interesting scene.
Well, Sajan almost ruins again for me by throwing a little hissy fit.
Yeah.
And just, why did you do it? Do it.
Do it.
He's like Emperor Palpatine. Do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Sajan would work a lot better for me if he was just Emperor Palpatine.
Well, all he's got to do is have a hood on.
He basically is, actually.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's ethically speaking.
I think Holtz is still working for me because they keep incorporating these really disturbing flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like
what's the same flash? I mean, it's not the same. It's the same story, though.
Yeah, it's the same area of his life. It's just literally right after the flashback that we got from last time, and somehow it just made that one even worse.
Yes, it did. And yeah, that's why it works for me because Holtz has that whole visual where I'm just thinking that he is mentally preparing himself for what he has to do when he has that night where he doesn't sleep and watches his daughter. I don't know what he does.
Just sits there.
I think he's
singing that lullaby. I think
he's just cutting off all ties to who he used to be, and is becoming consumed with revenge and mentally parsing out what he has to do to take his revenge. He no longer cares. And
I mean, it's fitting with how dark Angelus and Darla were back then, that they would do this kind of mental torture as well. And it's almost it's even worse than them just killing his kid and his wife.
But she doesn't seem to be very concerned about the baby, which probably makes sense because given the time period, I don't think Holtz doesn't strike me. I mean, there's more than a good chance that the baby's just going to die anyway.
Plus, I don't think they can literally do that on the TV show. That's probably a little too dark.
I don't even think. Do we even? I mean, I know we get a shot of his wife's body, and I think the crib is in that shot overturned.
Is it?
I'm not even sure if it is, but you're probably right that censorship, they're not allowed to show a dead baby or even imply. I mean, I think they got as close as they could when Darla and Angel look at each other.
Yeah.
At the end of last episode. The other thing that makes me nervous as Holtz is that Sajan is obviously evil in a way that Holtz is not.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
And I'm not I think, at this point, I think they're both using each other, and I don't think that... I will be annoyed if if Sajan managed to pull something over on Holtz.
Well, he obviously has ulterior motives because he's not informing Holtz entirely. Like, Holtz gets pissed because he didn't tell about Angel's soul, which, I mean, I can get Sajan not doing, but then he has an opportunity to talk about Darla's baby, which he's like, I can't think of anything else that's important. So obviously he's he's got something else going on.
Well, no, he wants Angel dead for some reason, and I don't know what reason that is, and I don't think he cares about the soul, because he thinks Holt is concerned about the ethics of it, which Holt is not, and that's why he didn't tell him. So Sajan is evil. My fear is that Holt will end up looking like an idiot for trusting him, which I don't 100% buy that Holt actually does at this point. I think they're both using each other. It just becomes a point of when does that just look foolish on Holt's part that he's trusting this demon who's obviously evil. Like, Holt's going to turn around and kill Sajan after he's done with Angel.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, as long as they don't make Holtz look foolish, which right now he needs Sajan. There's a necessity there to be like informed about this time period and what's going on. So I guess the moment when he doesn't need him anymore, right? He's still using him. Then that becomes a problem. I would agree,
because Holtz is not evil. I mean, Holtz isn't even that bad of a guy.
Yeah, I mean, he lets Angel go at the end, right?
Well, that too, and he's just a monster hunter,
right?
I mean, he's dressed like Van Helsing for the entire episode. Yeah,
he has done nothing thus far that would constitute as doing evil things. We just think of him as a bad guy because he's going after Angel, who's our good guy now. Which, is he like, would you equate it to like the extreme of how Gunn was when they were doing the Gun-centric episode about how they were, all demons are evil? Like, is he like the old school extreme of that? Like, at what point could there be a point where Holtz sees that Angel really has changed, and like there's nothing that's going to go on where he could ever forgive him? You know what I mean? So
that is also because he's seeing things as very black and white from his perspective, and we know things aren't black and white. We know there are good demons. Like, if my other thing is, what if he goes after? All right, so to segue into the Darla stuff, why is Fred there? And my fear is that he's going to go after Fred, and Fred is going to take over the damsel position that Cordelia has just exited.
I'm not sure why Fred is in that scene.
I could tell you. I would listen to the commentary, and I don't like that explanation either. Why Timonier put her in there, but I'm wondering if there is also a fact that if Holtz starts targeting the humans, or starts targeting Lorne, then I'm nervous again.
Well, I like the idea. Okay, so Holt's storyline that he's this self-righteous man, that he's championing justice and / revenge, and is slowly going down a darker and darker path. As long as they can progress his storyline naturally, and maybe he tweaks into doing darker things.
Yeah.
With the caveat that he's like, well, you know,
if he becomes sort of Machiavellian, and the ends justifies
the means, then I'll actually have no problem with it.
I mean, he kind of already is, because Angel points out to him that he's using demons now.
Right, but he didn't really hire them, you know what I mean? It's Sajan.
Yes.
So,
who is 50 different shades of evil.
Right. I mean, he is definitely going down that path. But he himself has done nothing necessarily evil yet.
No.
So.
All right, now we can just talk. Speaking of people who have done something evil, Darla. So, how do you feel about the fact that the soul, I mean, really this feels like 2 episodes in one. Right. And I think we should say that we both remember that Darla was around longer than 3 episodes.
I mean, no, she's not. She has the 2 flashbacks in the beginning of the season.
Well, no, are they flashbacks, or there's
or not
one,
flashbacks.
There's one flashback, and then we see her
flash to in Mexico and the mountain or whatever.
Yeah, vague South America somewhere.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, I do remember her being like, "Oh, she's here for the first half of the season." It's like, nope. 3 episodes. That's what she got,
and then she's dead. But I think it worked. Like the fact that she gets this. I mean, she gets the soul, or the soul begins to affect her now. It works that it feels like we're in 2 different episodes. The first half of this is really just kind of. The first 2 acts are really just continuing the last episode, and then they begin like a new episode where Angel goes to find her.
Right.
And we had a hint when she was crying in the car that this was happening. And it doesn't bother me, but how do you feel about the fact that the soul affects her now?
I think it works because it's tied to her trying to deliver the baby. Mm-hmm. So the closer that it's coming to term, the more its soul is affecting her.
Yeah. I think Angel the show does not agree with the Catholic Church that the soul begins at conception, because I think they're saying that the soul begins when she's about to give birth.
I mean, maybe. I just read it more as that it was affecting her more the closer it came to term. Not necessarily that the baby didn't have the soul then, but it's convenient. But there's a lot of things that are convenient with the story.
I mean, it's convenient that the baby can't be born, but was somehow. I don't know a lot about her vampire girl parts, but why now is the baby dying? Because you think the baby would die. I don't understand how the baby sustained itself for all those 9 months off of blood. I don't what you. For me, it's harder to believe that the baby existed in her dead body than when she's ready to give birth to it. She can't. I would push it out.
Well, she had been drinking quite a bit. All of the times we've cut to her, at that bar, she had killed everyone in the bar. Mm-hmm. On the bus, she only had killed a handful of people, but since she's been with Angel, she really hasn't drank anything. And I don't know if that has to tie into it.
No, they seem to suggest that she's dead.
Yeah.
And the body can't go into labor. Because I forget, why can't they do a C-section? Because nobody knows how to do a C-section?
No, because there's a mystical barrier.
That's right. Because it's that she physically can't push the baby out because her body is dead. And I'm not sure how exactly that works. And I'm not sure exactly how it works that Angel's face doesn't get blown off when he has a grenade in front of it. But there's a lot of mystical mumbo-jumbo crap that doesn't make any sense. And the only thing that really bothers me is the prophecy, because that is BS.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with either the soul now taking its toll on Darla, or the fact that the baby is now apparently dying, as opposed to the 9 months that it was with Darla. But the prophecy suddenly, we found another word. It actually means there will be no birth, is pretty annoying. Now, it's foreboding, which I like. There will only be death, or whatever he says.
Yeah, and it's the thing that you think the baby's going to die, but then she dies. And there's actually no real birth, because she dies, and the baby just pops into existence.
Right.
Fine, whatever. I mean, last episode, when I said that if they come back with another explanation, I honestly did not remember that they actually do come back with another explanation. A lot of the speculation I do is just me just giving crap answers that I remember don't actually happen, or I just speculate things that I wish would happen. That I honestly didn't remember that they were going to come back with yet another explanation of what the prophecy means.
Right.
And that's just
that
annoying.
Seems to be, it's annoying because it's a well they keep going on, that they well, with the prophecy, we can be vague and we can try and drum up drama with it and have characters interact in different ways. It doesn't necessarily feel manipulative, but it is kind of annoying that they can
it's manipulative. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's manipulative, and they can just do it's lazy because they can just do whatever they want. That's
a better word for me. Like, it is lazy that they can just go, we need it to fit the story in some way. Okay, we'll be as vague as possible. Well, just kidding. Let's change this word. You know what I mean? Like, it does feel lazy to me.
And it's pretty much the same thing that happened with the Shan show. Like, this word doesn't actually mean birth. It actually means death. It's just the reverse.
Well, that's funny because it's Wesley's reading of the actual prophecy or whatever. And the guy goes, well, he was really close. Mm-hmm. So Wesley was going to misdiagnose the prophecy again. That's pretty funny to me. But
all right. We want to go back to Darla and just in general.
Sure.
And I do want to, we talked about why. So the reason that they put Fred there is because they didn't want Angel or Darla to cry in that moment. I think Angel's crying, but whatever. There might not be any actual tears, but it might just be rain. And they just wanted someone, a human perspective, someone to look on and be sad. And I don't think that works exactly. I don't know what the scene would look like without Fred, but I don't think Fred crying tells me how I'm supposed to feel. If Fred wasn't there, I don't think I wouldn't be sad.
Yeah, and I think that scene is so much deeper and more interesting and more complex even without Fred there, just with Darla and Angel.
She doesn't do anything but look kind of sad.
She looks like the Virgin Mary with her little coat over her head. Yeah, that looks like a hood.
Mm-hmm. Well, that also in the commentary track, that wasn't intentional, but then once they realized that Fred looks like the Virgin Mary, they milked that for all it was worth. So
I don't know. I mean, it's fine having her there. I don't mind. It's interesting. Like, I don't know why she decides to stay, besides the fact that you just gave me the reason with the commentary. But, like, I was going to read more into it, like, well, why is she staying? But she gets to be a witness to it so that we have someone that can actually, next episode, say what happened. Because Angel's not going to want to talk about it, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. Why do you think Angel wouldn't want to talk about it?
Well, would he be, like, saddened by Darla's death?
I don't know. He seems pretty sad when she dies. Or I don't know. What do you think he's sadder about? The fact that... Because Angel just thinks the baby is going to die.
Yeah.
And I think he's sad... I think he's more... I mean, either way, Darla is going to die. The Darla with a soul is going to die.
Right.
So I think it's losing both of them at that moment, because I don't think that Angel has any kind of attachment to Vampire Darla.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think so.
Compared to the human Darla, Darla with a soul, who seem to be kind of the same person, I think that's who he has an attachment to, and the reflection of that person in her as a vampire, I don't think he has any real attachment to her. As evidenced by how he treated her when they conceived this baby.
Right, but there's something so interesting about that scene because of how they're kind of reminiscing about all of the death and destruction that they've done. Mm-hmm. And I really love, like, Darla says to him, you know, we can never take it back. We can never basically undo what we've done.
Yes.
We can never make up for it. And he's kind of like, yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. Which is really interesting in context to the other prophecy that's going on with Angel, the Shanshu prophecy.
I mean, we can talk about that in feedback, because I have feelings about that and how it relates to the curse.
Sure. But I like how, not necessarily flat, it's not flat, but there are different emotions going on between Darla and Angel, than just Fred being sad and crying. And so I don't think I'm with the commentary. I wouldn't have liked necessarily Angel or Darla crying.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked their kind of sad recognition of just the fact that they were going to lose this baby and kind of how defeated they both looked.
Well, I like how they both end up responding to it, where Darla has the most melodramatic kind of like breakdown emotions about it, which fits her character. And Angel is just so quietly desperate about the whole thing.
Right.
And I think it's both Julie Benz and David Boreanaz. I think this is probably their best episode, performance-wise, and what they're able to do.
I would agree, and it's impressive. I mean, obviously, we've seen Julie Benz has been able to do a lot with a little. Like last week, she was just the way she was able to just say "Angel" made you go, "Oh, well, there's something really different about her," and that was with the soul affecting her and everything. But the way that David Boreanaz was able to play Angel so stoic and quiet, but you could breathe so much emotion behind it, like worked really, really well. Yeah.
I really love the gun scene when it comes to Angel, because I think it's perfect that Gunn gets to say that, because I think that's the kind of role that Gunn should inhabit, where he is the contrarian and he is the one that will call Angel on something.
Right. Like, because neither Wesley or Cordelia.
I mean, I think Cordelia would. I think Cordelia cares too much about Angel at that point to hurt him that much.
Right. Yeah, I really love it.
I mean, I think we get that Cordelia agrees with Gunn when she says, "You have to be so damn honest," but she just wouldn't say it at this point.
Right.
And I mean, Gunn is so easy to agree with him and then so easy to not. Just from Angel saying, "Well, so the powers just want to kill my kid."
Yeah. And I just found that it was a nice way to have Angel break down, because we've just seen him kind of like on a mission.
Well, that's what he does.
Full steam, yeah, exactly, full head of steam. And it was really nice for him to have the breakdown of like, you don't get half a miracle, right? It's not just half, and then
anytime Angel starts
kill my kid,
talking about, because he never. Well, he tries not to talk about the powers, but anytime that he mentions the powers, and you get the sense that really that's all that's keeping him together on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
The idea that that it's not just going to be constant suffering for him. That there is eventually going to be a light at the end of the tunnel.
Which is interesting in contrast with his Epiphany speech. But yeah, I think.
Well, I think that the Epiphany speech is how he doesn't end up going dark every day. Just that's what he's thinking. But when he's really desperate, he turns to the idea that there's something out there that's on his side.
Well, there's some meaning to what's going on.
I mean, Angel's agnostic, really.
I guess so.
All right, so I think the only thing we really need to talk about is Darla's death itself, and how do you feel about it as an end to her character?
Well, it's interesting because she's died so many times, but
she better not come back.
No, absolutely not. There's a nice finality to it that I really enjoy.
She only died once. Well, twice. No, okay.
Okay, she died in Buffy. She dies
a human. She died the first time in The Master Turner, so that's one. She died in Buffy as a vampire, then she died as a human in Angel, then she died as a vampire. So that's 4 deaths altogether.
Correct. I wasn't overly. I mean, I'm sad to see Julie Benz go. I thought she was doing such a wonderful job, but they couldn't have her around. Obviously, like this. The story necessitated her being around and them not killing her.
Well, once they gave her as much as I don't know what they're going to do with the baby now, I don't think you could kill the baby and then still have Darla just pop up whenever you wanted. Because then what's the point of this whole thing, really?
Right. So my emotions, I wasn't necessarily sad for Darla. I really like the scene between Angel and Darla because they're kind of having this sad recognition that their kid is going to die, and in essence, Darla is going to die with it, or at least the soulful Darla is going to die with it. But the emotion out of that scene for me was definitely when Holt shows up with the crossbow, and just seeing.
Well, we can go to that because I have a lot of feelings about Darla actually dying.
Okay.
So we can talk about Holt, but I think that there's no other end for her that would work as well as this.
Like, right. And this is the best way you can do it, and it be kind of, not a hero send-off, but not be...
Well, I think it's pretty heroic. She kills herself so the kid can live.
Sure, okay, yeah.
But the other thing is, when Darla dies as a human, I mean, Darla, from way back in the 1700s, she was destined to die. She was dying, and the only reason she lived is because she got killed and turned into a vampire. She was going to die. So then when she comes back, she makes her peace with the fact that she's going to die, and then Drusilla comes in and takes that from her. And then Darla's gone until now, where she actually gets to she chooses to die again. She gets to that choice is given back to her, and she takes it. And she does it for the sake of something else, which is the kid. And the other thing that it works so well is Darla was constantly a character that was looking for some kind of acceptance and love. I think we get the sense of that when we see her as a human in the 1700s, that she was a hooker and she had no... It could be because we don't really know anything about her, but I think you can infer that she was a poor, lonely girl, and the only way that she felt she could provide for herself was selling her body, because she couldn't find anyone to marry her, and that's really kind of the only option open to a poor girl without any means, which is what we were told Darla was.
Yeah.
So her whole 400-year life, she's searching for love, and she thinks she has it with Angelus. Because even when she comes back as a human, she still thinks that they were in love, but Angel knows differently because he had a soul and experienced what it actually feels like when he was in love with Buffy.
Right.
So her whole life she's looking for some kind of love, and then at the very end she actually understands it when she loves her son. And then she dies for that love. And the other thing is that Darla was kind of the matriarch of the entire... She built herself up as a matriarch, and she was a poor person as a human, and then she creates this symbol for herself, and it's a perverse kind of motherly role that she performs as a vampire, but she still is. And then here she goes out on like the purest example of love, which is the mother's love for her child, and she sacrifices herself for that.
Right. I really like how you were putting with the fact that whenever she died as a human again, that was kind of taken from us. Like, as an audience member, we it's unsatisfying because they take away that her going out in the way that her arc could right then, like her accepting her death.
Yeah.
And that they rob us of that, but then they give that to us again because she is kind of her human soulful self. This comes back to like, is she now more like her human self because she's got her soul again, but it's not her soul, or is she something else entirely, kind of how Angel is?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? Just the fact that when she says she's never loved anything more, and Angel tells her, "You've never loved anything." And then finally, because that was what Angel was trying to tell her all for a good portion of last season, that they weren't in love, and she wouldn't accept that. And here she finally understands what Angel was trying to tell her all along.
Do you think Angel had feelings for human Darla at all? They had a connection.
I don't know. He seemed...
And whether...
I mean, he definitely has... Whether it's... I think I think his overarching feeling towards human Darla is more of a pity. Because it's definitely not what he felt for Buffy or feels for Buffy and what he feels for Cordelia now. I don't think so. There's a whole mess of crap going on in that dynamic. So who actually knows what he feels for it? I think it's complicated and messy, and it's supposed to be.
Right. Which is actually what I really like about the death scene. Because it's like encompassing all of their history.
Yeah.
Both Darla, soulful Darla, human Darla, Angelus, Angel, like all of their interactions and how tumultuous their relationship has been. And it just kind of coming to a head right then. But I got a lot of emotion out of after she kills herself. They have Holtz dramatically walking through the fire in slow motion, which apparently takes them a really long time to get to them because they keep cutting back to him with dramatic music playing. But him pointing the crossbow at Angel and like just seeing how vulnerable Angel looks in that moment, like he
looks vulnerable, but he also makes eye contact with him as if he's kind of daring him to do it in a way.
See, to me, I read it as he actually looks scared.
Well, I think he looks... maybe not daring him to do it. I think if Holtz had fired the crossbow, I think Angel would have accepted it.
And that's very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Angel in that moment is accepting his fate? Do you think he's going to... like, he would just take it? He would, like... I deserve this in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to... Joseph makes the point that we've seen Angel catch a crossbow before. Bolt before.
Yeah, with Fate.
Mm-hmm. So you could argue that he could... if he wanted to, he could disarm Holtz. But he doesn't. Like, if he really wanted to... We're just taking off Joseph's comment at this point. If he really wanted to, he can give the baby to Fred and just knock Holtz out. But he doesn't. Yeah. And I think that's significant. Maybe it's just, there's no way in hell that Angel's giving up his son.
Yeah. To me, he looks so protective and so vulnerable and so scared at the way he kind of arches his shoulder and is trying to cradle his son. I thought was a really impactful shot. Like, I really love that.
He looks vulnerable, but the fact that he makes eye contact.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he's daring Holtz to see him as something other than a animal, or he's scared, or he's just kind of challenging him of what he's going to do. Because I do think that if Angel wanted to, he could. He could have. But he doesn't.
But
and it's just the Angel's self-loathing and what Darla says to him that it makes perfect sense that Holtz is after them now. I don't think that's just Darla's opinion.
No.
I think that's Angel's just opinion of himself, that if anybody kills him, and if someone like Holtz kills him, they're completely justified in doing it.
Right. There's almost a pleading look to him, though. Like, he looks scared. He doesn't know what Holtz is going to do.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that fear is for himself. I think the fear is because he's holding his baby. Because if Holtz does shoot him, Angel goes to dust, that baby falls, that baby dies.
Right.
So I don't know. There's a whole lot of things going on there.
Well, is there anything else that you want to bring up before we head to feedback?
No, there's nothing.
Okay. No one cares about Lila.
I forgot she was even in the episode.
No, I'm serious. I don't really care.
I don't really care either. So,
all right.
I forgot. She doesn't... She exists to give us the stupid third interpretation of the prophecy, so...
Yeah, and she exists to help Holtz know about Angel's soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, first up in feedback, we have Joseph, who says, 1, I love the melodrama, and Julie Benz and David Boreanaz really knocked it out of the park on this one. Angel acting vulnerable and worried on lines like half a miracle was every bit as affecting as Ben's full-on breakdown, and that's saying something. 2, it's funny, but Holtz taps into some of the elements of Season 1 Lindsay. He's scary because he doesn't have superpowers, and he just runs on hate and willpower. Sort of like Lindsay finishing the resurrection ceremony. It works much better because the motives for his hate is something better than frustration and jealousy, and because his character is consistent. 3, even on Rewatch, I sort of expected Angel to kill Holtz at the end of this episode. One of the most important people in his life has just died to give life to Angel's son, and here comes Holtz with a crossbow. And we've seen Angel catch a crossbow bolt fired from behind his back by a slayer. It would have been very effective to see Angel hand the baby to Fred, knock the bolt away in midair, and walk up to Holtz, say sorry, and break his neck. But I guess Season 3 Angel is vulnerable and kind of goofy, not dark. So, thank you, Joseph.
The only thing I disagree with that is I don't think it would have... I know it really says effective. I don't think he's saying it's better or than what actually happened.
Right.
If he is, I disagree with that because I don't think.
I mean, it would have been shocking, certainly.
Yeah,
but we just got Holtz, and
well, yeah, they're not going to do that.
To me, yeah, it seems like
we have Sajan, who I think is kind of the secret villain. Not so secret because he's clearly evil.
We made the comparison already, but he seems like the Emperor and Holtz is Darth Vader.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
So, as long as... Yeah, they can still keep having that dynamic, and that works really fine.
So, yeah. I mean, but he does make a point that I really hadn't considered before, that if Angel wants to, he can end this. And he chooses not to. Yeah,
but either way he ends it, someone has to die because of it. Either he is going to die, or he's going to have to kill Holtz.
And I think Angel always is going to sacrifice himself.
Right. I don't think he's in the position of... He's not last season's Angel anymore.
No.
And even last season's Angel still wouldn't kill people.
No, he never killed anyone directly.
Right.
And so the other thing that I'm going to mention from the commentary track is that Tim Minear always wanted to kill Darla. And he said he had his original idea, and I don't know how far it actually got. But he wanted to kill Darla in Reprise when Angel sleeps with her. And Angel stakes her after he sleeps with her.
Wow.
And they didn't go with that. I think it's a good thing they didn't go with that. But I don't. So the plan Darla was slated to die from just the beginning.
Right. And I'm glad they had this happen and they didn't just do what they did with Drusilla, which was just like, she left. She ran away. Hooray.
Yep.
It would have been kind of annoying if the last time we saw Darla was literally saying, hey, get out. If I see you again, I'm going to kill you.
No, I think that works as a final moment. At least Darla is given a final scene where Drusilla just left and Darla had to say she's not coming back.
Yeah, but there's still something very unresolved before that.
No, I'm not... This is a perfect ending, but I'm saying if she doesn't come back, it's less egregious than Drusilla. But also Darla is more important than Drusilla to Angel's story. Because I think Drusilla's real importance in the story is kind of her connection to Spike.
Right. So Joseph talks about how Holtz is pretty effective because he's human and doesn't has very human motivations.
Comparing him to Lindsay, that's good because I think this is what Lindsay should have been and it's not.
Right. Well,
and I'm worried that he'll be cut. I mean, I guess I'm just gun shy around Lindsay sort of things because I'm worried that he's going because he's very grounded. Not like Lila is not. I mean, I believe that that's a real person, but she's very dramatic,
right?
And she's kind of putting on a performance always. Where Lindsay was like ruled by his emotions. And Holtz is in a way too, but Holtz is kind of more serious. Like Lindsay,
he's ruled by his.
What
I like. Well, no, I was just gonna say like you're right. Like Lindsay was, and so is Holtz. But I like the fact that Holtz seems so contained, even though that's what he's ruled.
Well, he's older than Lindsay, not just because he's from 1777 or whatever. He just seems to be older than Lindsay when he was alive, or well, he's still alive now, but before he went into his hibernation.
Right.
Where Lindsay, I mean, God, I feel like there should be a drinking game for how many times I say something derogatory to him. But the problem I always have with Lindsay is he was a brat, and he acted like a little sullen teenager when he didn't get his way. Where
right.
Holtz is a grown ass man. And he's more mature, and I think that's why him waiting for his daughter turn, and that just whole night where he has to, I think that exists just to give us the idea that he's been planning this for literally centuries.
Right.
And he made it up all then. This is what I have to do, and just the way that as soon as his men come, the first thing he does, and the first thing that's on his list is just throw his daughter, it's not really his daughter anymore, but his daughter's body out into the sun and burn the vampire.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he literally does say, I've been dreaming, like I slept for 2 centuries and I dreamt about this moment for 2 centuries. Mm-hmm. There is something really satisfying about him being human, yet Angelus was afraid of him. Angel seems afraid of him, at least in the moment that he's like, oh God, you're alive. The thing that we talked about it a little bit last week about like how they cut the camera feed and suddenly everyone's dead with Holt staying there. I don't want him to feel like he has superpowers as long as they can like keep up the fact that because he's human and relentless and has this very Van Helsing kind of thing.
I think it's established now that was because the demons hopped down to it because they're kind of hiding. Like, they're there in the room.
Right.
Anyway, we can move on.
Sure.
All right, so next we have Robin, who said, I love Holtz. I'd forgotten how good he is. He's such a great contrast to the general flippancy of demons and villains on the show. By being still and serious, he comes across as a real threat. Excellent casting. Which is a very good point, because Holtz is far more compelling to me than Sajan is.
Right. I mean, he's threatening and intimidating, even though he's a short Englishman.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why you're stuck on this whole short business.
I don't know. It's literally it's not distracting, but I just keep noticing
that
it. Like,
short.
He's pretty short.
I mean, the thing is that he's serious, but there's also a kind of a humor to him. Is that he's not like a robot. He's not Gavin. Like, he has a bit of a personality. Well,
he has a personality. I mean, they play up they still have like
when he finds out that Angel has a soul.
Right.
He, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he like mutters. He's asked, is that true? Is that what's going on?
You're right. There's still a little Whedon villainish thing, like, or he does the same thing. Like they play up his past self or how he interacts with Lila when he is like, your men were very brave. Each of them fought, to the last or whatever. The way he delivers that line is really like over the top and dramatic, which still supposed to be funny.
The thing I really like about that is Lila's response. Like, she has to act like she cares because Holt seems to think that she should.
Yeah.
I think the best thing the humor that comes from Holtz, which I think you still need to have that on just this show, just so things don't get so depressing. It's the way that Holt's interacting with other people. Like, I think the marriage of Sajan and Holtz works. Right. More than I think it would work if it was just one of them. If it has to be one of them, I'd rather it be Holtz. But the fact that Sajan is so pop culture heavy, quippy, and Holtz is not.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about how long that relationship will last. Mm-hmm. Right now, I like the contrast between the two.
Yeah.
And I don't want... I like Holtz being dark and serious, and they can still play up humor because he's kind of a fish out of water. Mm-hmm. But I think something that makes him so effective is because he also does have that sense of history.
Yeah.
Like, there's a very personal connection. They have so much past, so there's just more stakes involved.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So next up we have Alicia, who says, favorite scenes. Wesley Gunn, Fred Cordelia trying to keep Darla calm. Wesley showing Darla how to breathe. Isn't anyone going to sit in the back with me? Lila, Holtz, and Angel. What are we looking at? Darla being maternal, rubbing her baby bump when Angel finds her. Why is it everyone insists on planning my son's future before he's even born? Darla not wanting the baby to come out. Try now, Fred hits Gunn. Okay, try now, Fred hits Gunn again. Buddha head, Rhino. Darla's speech before she stakes herself. Holtz letting Angel and his baby pass him and not killing Angel. So thank you, Alicia.
I really do like the little... When they go back to Caritas and Fred is smacking Gunn in the head.
No. No.
I mean, I like that, and I also like when Wesley and Gunn pick up the boot head and Rhino and look at it, and then like shrug, and then just start bashing down the ball.
I like the fact that that's even in Caritas.
Well, it's not in Caritas; it's in Lauren's bedroom. And that makes it even better. That makes a perfect sense that it's in Lauren's bedroom. The other thing I want to talk about: do you think this is? I mean, Caritas is gone. Do you think that Lauren is going to rebuild it again?
That would be really tired if they did. I mean, they built it once, but
the other thing is they blow it up. I mean, that's not CG. That they blow that set up.
This show has a history of, like, whenever they're done with a set, they blow it up, like they did with.
Well, I think it's only one other set, but
okay. Well, anyways,
I guess now it would be a history, but yeah.
But they have.
The other logistically, you don't blow up a set if you're planning to use it again. And I do think that it's probably the last time we've seen Caritas, because I think at this point Lauren is a member of Angel Investigations, and the one thing that was keeping him back from being a full member is he had Caritas. Right,
and I mean they'd already wrecked it twice with the car and then the Guns gang. And now they've blown it up. So yeah, I don't think that they're going to keep on with Caritas. So this seems like a nice finality to that.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I do remember that I don't remember seeing Caritas much in the later seasons, but I don't know why that is. If they blow it up after this, and they never go back to it,
right? I did like the Angel, what are we looking at, when they're all looking down the alleyway. I know they do that joke a lot in a lot of different shows and everything, but that always
it works when Angel does it. Yeah. I mean, it works anytime Angel's goofy.
It was the only, like, goofy scene we got with Angel. I mean, you can talk about the grenade being goofy, but...
No, he does that,
for different reasons.
Badass Arnold Schwarzenegger is what he does that at. The rest of the episode, I mean, it's the one moment where they allow Angel to have a little bit more than just dourness.
Right.
And he should be. We shouldn't get dorky Angel laughing at Cordelia's jokes, but...
Right.
Alright. Moving on. There's Kanem who said, wow, vampires give birth to giant newborns. Anyway, 3 thoughts on Lullaby. Even though there was some horrible overdubbing in this episode, there were some lovely images. Lauren gently singing along with Holtz, with Lily donning horror. Holt striding to the flames, and Angel creating the baby crying in the rain. And speaking of the rain, I think we got some symbolism here too. Fire equals death, water equals life. Nice. 3, Lyle and Holt should have a buddy dramedy spin-off called Laws of God and Laws of Man. And he gave it a 70 out of 100. And I would watch that. I know what overdubbing is, obviously. I don't know what he's talking about.
Is he talking about the scene in the rain?
Maybe, but I don't see how that's... that's the only thing that would be overdubbing. I'd be playing one audio track over another. But that's not really overdubbing. They've muted the rain so you can hear them whisper to each other.
Right.
The one moment where I feel like the audio mix is off, because I feel like they bumped when Holt's in the flashback when Holt starts singing the lullaby. I feel like they bumped that up because the actor talks softly to begin with, and I'm going that's just his normal speaking voice. It's like he's whispering, and that he's actually whispering, and it sounds louder than it should actually be.
Is there? I can't remember if there was a scene in the episode where they added a line of dialogue kind of off.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot, but I don't remember it happening.
So, I think there was, and I think that's what Kanan was picking up on.
Technically, if I'm going to be an ass, that's not overdubbing, but whatever.
Okay, well, what is that?
That's ADR.
I would like to know. ADR?
Added dialogue report.
Dialogue. Okay, well, maybe that's not what he's talking about, but...
If he's talking about overdubbing, I don't know when overdubbing comes into effect. I do... If there's some audio tracks that are off, then maybe. But it didn't stand out to me. There could be some ADR that's pretty obvious. But I don't know.
Yeah. Kanan talks...
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, Kanan talking about the imagery. There's something definitely that was very striking about it. And I really loved he talks about the symbolism with the fire and the water, but I do like the lighting in that shot, because you still have the lighting from the fire.
Which is all from the actual fire.
Right.
There's no stage lights in that, which is very impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, there's nothing really else to talk about Lullaby, I don't think. Unless there's anything in comments that you want to talk about.
No. We've done our due diligence, I feel like.
Okay.
Sure. Next up we have more from Joseph talking about Angel's curse. And he says, I don't know if the writers have seen it this way, but I've always assumed that part of Angel's broodiness is guilt. And part is his knowledge that if he ever allows himself to get too happy, he might go on a killing spree. And I guess another part is resentment that whatever he finds himself feeling happy, he needs to pull back. I don't remember how much Jenny Calendar managed to tell everyone about the curse before she died, but we Buffy viewers know how it works. It's not supposed to allow Angel to enjoy being an immortal superhero, so if he starts, that's it. In fact, the way the curse works now, after reinsoulment, is pretty diabolic revenge. Angel has to live with more guilt for how much he enjoyed torturing and killing his friends during Angelus' second rampage. And now he knows that if he experiences too much happiness, it will happen a third time. And frankly, since his backup plan is Gunn or Cordy killing Angelus, I think Angelus' third rampage would go pretty well for the forces of darkness. I wonder if that's part of the curse. It would be pretty amazing revenge if the curse was designed to reinsoul Angelus after about 40 years. He could go through an eternity trying to atone, then slipping up and causing more decades of destruction, then each time return to find any friends dead or aged and start the cycle again. So thank you, Joseph.
I don't think the curse has an expiration date.
Yeah, I mean,
who knows? The gypsies are some petty people.
They're petty, but it's cruel to the soul. It's not cruel to Angelus.
No.
I guess Angelus, it depends on how you interpret if they're like different beings. Mm-hmm. But if Angelus is like they're underneath the surface watching everything and can't act on it.
I think they established that, yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I guess that's a sort of revenge that he has to see Angel try and atone and do these nice things and everything. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's more of a... It's just more torturing of actual Angel. Mm-hmm. I think it's poorly constructed because if he ever gets happy, then he'll become Angelus and just go after and kill all the gypsies, which he ends up doing in Buffy. Like,
oh, the curse. I mean, like as a revenge plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to let your enemy have an opportunity to come and get you again. Yeah. But I mean, it would be really sad if it had this cyclical thing, but not for Angelus, more for Angel.
And I think the writers absolutely intend that the broodiness is all guilt. And I think we get that in this episode when Darla has a soul and she tells Angel, we can't ever make up for what we did. And Angel says he knows. I don't think... So the thing is, however the Shanshu prophecy works, I don't think Angel is ever going to be happy unless he becomes a human. Because I think he's constantly going to be worried about turning into
a monster.
Yeah. And the other thing is, so the indeterminate time of whenever he has done enough good deeds that he becomes a human, but how does that work? Because I think we get the idea that Angel's never going to feel that he's going to make up for it. Someone's going to have to tell him, I guess.
Yeah.
That would be what the series says. I don't know.
Maybe. There's definitely like this weird religious aspect to it. It feels very Catholic.
Well, it's Catholic, but the other thing is that Angel doesn't really believe in forgiveness. He's for himself.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, the thing is that I think if we look at this episode and what Darla says to him, I think it's always constantly a part of him, the curse. Because I think I cut off a part of just this comment that he thinks that they don't handle it well, but they should bring it up. And it should always be a part of Angel's character. And I think it is. I don't think they need to bring it up. I think just the way that Angel acts, like the broodiness, that's why. It is all about the guilt. Because what other reason does he have to be broody?
I mean, he has reasons, but just living.
But it's with the soul and that he's cursed. I think that's why he's this miserable. It's not just like it's not that he's just a bummer of a guy. It's the fact that he has his soul and he's cursed to not be happy ever.
Right. I do. Yeah. I mean that it makes sense to do that. I like the way they bring up the overarching things very sparingly. Like, they don't mention the Shanshu that much.
No.
They mentioned it a few episodes ago, and I like seeing Angel's reaction to that.
I like
and
that
it's very different.
Sorry. I think we complained last week about how they don't really talk about the curse, and maybe they should. Or I just don't really care about the curse, so I don't really care when they talk about it. But I think little things like this, with Darla saying that you can never make up for what we did,
is enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, they're not specific with the curse, and they're kind of like the prophecy. They use it to whatever their means they need to.
I think it's better than the prophecy because it's set that the wording is set that it is perfect happiness. It's not like, well, actually the curse means whatever BS explanation Wesley wants to give me.
Right. Well, do you equate the happiness with love?
I mean, I think we haven't gone back to it.
Right. We haven't gone back to it since the really bad season 1 episode.
It was because you were with Buffy. That's what... Or he says it to Cordelia, do you have any idea how rare that is? That the moment of perfect happiness is not necessarily he has sex. And we know that, obviously, now, because he had sex with Darla.
Right. I like that. I just worry, because I just keep thinking about, Darla has this, nice moment in this episode where she's talking about the love that she feels for her son. Mm-hmm. If Angel ever comes to that understanding or that kind of feeling, is it?
So you're saying
is
about
it the love?
Son? I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like it's more about when he was with Buffy, he
I think
he let go of everything that was burdening him. He unburdened himself.
When they have sex, every problem that Angel has, he's just with her, and he's not thinking about anything else.
Right.
So I think there's always going to be an element of sadness to his son, who's a human, and eventually he's going to grow old, and he's going to die, and Angel's going to be there. So I don't think he could ever be really happy unless he's a human.
Maybe the fears for his son and all of the elements that are circling around him, or the fact that he's going to grow up without a mother. There are a lot of circumstances around the baby.
I think it's a matter of self-control. Where, and this is just, I don't know if they really are thinking about it or just that it just works out this way. But I do think he let go in that moment with Buffy. And I do think, on some level, that if they had sex again, he would have not turned. I think Angel because Angel didn't know that you're happy.
That happened. Yeah.
You turn. So now that he knows, it's a matter of him trying to keep his emotions in check, and that's why he's so repressed about everything.
See, maybe I think it is. It's more of the he has to be guilty. Mm-hmm. He cannot let go of what he's done in the way that the curse wants. The gypsies want him to be broody and guilty for all the things he's done for eternity. Mm-hmm. Right. So as long as he holds on to that, he won't lose it. But I just hate the fact that they had the stupid, he took happy drugs.
I don't even want to talk about that. Well, okay. If we want to talk about that in our new theory that he just let go, he takes the happy drugs, his tolerance is lowered, he's not in his right mind. He doesn't have control over his own mind at that point.
Right.
So yeah, it worked. I guess what we've come to, that it's always about Angel being self-controlled, that he is constantly pulling back. And I think they're going to have to talk about it, because whether Cordelia returns the feelings that Angel clearly has for her or not, that's going to be an ongoing storyline, Angel and Cordelia, or Angel's feelings, unrequited or not, about her.
Right.
So,
that would definitely be a huge, if they do that,
mm-hmm.
that would have to be a conversation they had.
In some way, whether she realizes that she's in love with him, or it just becomes Angel pining after her.
Right.
Those are two different stories. But if she says she's in love with him and realizes it, then where does that go? Is it a celibate relationship so they're never truly together? Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
So moving on. We have a long comment about Fred. And it was Angel Watcher who said, "For me, Fred fits into a trope, such type of a character we can find many of. Fred is an example of a genius, smart, babbling nerd, just as Cordy and Buffy is an example of the mean schoolgirl. I don't see any aspect about Fred that makes her different from any other genius, babbling characters. For me, other characters came across as having something that made them a bit different than others of their type, or more real in their character-centric episode. Fred babbles science quickly, words almost every time she speaks or writes equations on the walls. To me, it's a bit over the top. What smart TV characters typically do, not what a smart real-life person does. There must be other ways to portray very smart. For me, they also take the childness a bit too far." And then talking about Fred Listen specific, he said, "Fred's trauma is too quickly solved for me. I absolutely buy her thinking of Pylea as a fantasy to cope, but it's like she meets her parents as a breakdown, is over it, and saves the day. She's faced years of fear in a world very different from this one. Shouldn't there be any lasting effects? Like an arc instead of a single episode plot. If the point of this episode is Fred's trauma, this becomes too simple for me. None of this is bad, but it doesn't compare to me the characterization of Spike in Fool for Love, or the relationship between Angel and Darla in Darla. I don't buy the character interactions how everyone adores her or sees her as integral to the group. Yes, she has been together with them for a while and she's helped them, but so has others, and they have known Lorne for a while. He helps them, has talents no one in the group has, but they don't adore him or need him in the group. You might say that Fred is adorable, but if you think of the writing, the Angel Investigations group are very different people. They have helped/met a lot of people, but none of them have reacted this way to others. Why should all of them react this way to Fred? Did they even know that much about her at the end of Fredless? The other friendships have taken some time to build. When Wesley and Gunn came, it took a while for them to be accepted as group members. That seemed as more believable character interactions. Does Fred have any more competence to bring to the group than Lorne or Wesley, who were not immediately invited in? Is smart in physics enough, even a necessary competence for a demon agency? This comes off as the writing pushing how great and important she is. Thank you. I do want to apologize because he actually commented on my review of Fredless, and I didn't ignore him. And it was a couple of weeks ago. I just didn't see it. There was no notification. WordPress did not tell me that someone had commented. So it wasn't actively ignoring him. I just had no idea that it had existed.
Okay.
Because he did, before this, I mean, I cut out a lot of this comment because it was a lot longer, just for time. But he did say that he was going to comment now and not comment again, I'm worried that he thought I was just ignoring him, which I wasn't. And there was, in the original comment, there was a lot of things that I couldn't include because they went into other seasons, which are important things to keep in mind going forward. We just obviously can't talk about them now. And he made a lot of good points there. So, and the one thing that he didn't put in this comment that he had in the other comment is, why do we need Fred to be the smart character when we already have Wesley? So that, put that into everything else here. Because there are a lot of good points. But we can talk about it all now.
Right. As far as Fred's necessity into the group, I feel like she does fill a role. I like that, I mean, one, we need more female characters on the show.
Well, whether she's smart or not, there needs to be another female character on the show, especially how they've treated damsels of the week and things.
Right. And she does fill kind of the Willow role on early seasons of Buffy where she was kind of damselish, but I like that she's very different from Cordelia, and that she doesn't necessarily have to be what Cordelia is doing, which is Cordelia training herself and becoming like physically able to fend for herself. I like that what we've seen from Fred is that she does use her intelligence in problem solving.
Which makes sense, because I feel like a strong wind could break her in half.
Yeah. They do play up the childlike aspect.
It doesn't bother either of us, but I can see if you're annoyed by her babbling, the amount that they use it to create her as an endearing presence would get annoying.
Right. And to me that's some of the lasting effects from Pylea, that her brain is still kind of fractured.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That I don't think it's that she's smart. I think it's the Pylea in her. Right. And I'm actually cutting out a part of his comment where I don't consider this a spoiler because I don't remember it. I mean, it might be true, but he says that it doesn't come from Pylea because we've seen her in other flashbacks moving forward, and she's still kind of childlike. And I don't remember those, so I can't speak to them. But I'm not sure. Like, there's a lot of things that he brings up in the other comment and this one that I think are important moving forward for who she will be, but right now I just kept the things that apply to her at this moment.
Right.
And there's things I'm definitely looking for now. Because honestly, I did not expect Fred to be as controversial as the character as she has become. But apparently she is.
Well, she also represents a lot of innocence in the group. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has a darker backstory or has some sort of history. And her history was done to her.
Yeah,
not something they did.
I mean, her and Gunn are the most pure.
Right.
Because Gunn, what happened to Gunn was done to him.
Right.
He had to fend for himself. So they're good people. And not that everyone isn't a good person, but
right.
they're the most, like, innocent and kind of pure, just goodness in them. That they chose this life because they just have to because they're good people. Where Wesley, Cordelia, and Angel found that it's rewarding for them, but they found that through atonement. Right.
And part of that innocence and that pureness really, I mean, it plays up the childlike nature in Fred. It doesn't help that on occasion they put her in like pigtails and stuff.
Yeah, they definitely... And I think that's why everyone likes her. And I think there's another element of it, that she's a pretty girl, and Wesley and Gunn are pretty immature. And they've already established that there's not a lot of romantic options open to them. Right. I do think that Virginia's big contribution to the story was establishing that these people can't have a relationship with someone that doesn't understand what they do on a personal level. So Fred comes into the group. She's pretty, she is innocent, and she needs protecting. And at this point, Wesley and Gunn could never handle Cordelia on a romantic basis.
Right.
Because they both are kind of alphas, and Cordelia's definitely an alpha. There's no question about that. And there's no way that they could be in a romantic relationship with her. I think that it's not that Fred's weak, it's just it's easy to see her as something that is desirable, especially because I'm thinking that probably at this point they don't even see Cordelia as attractive at all anymore. She's probably like a sister to them. So there's new meat in this. It's like...
That sounds so terrible.
But really, though, it is. It's like the new girl at school who's cute and doesn't really know anything, and that's why they're attracted to her.
Well, I like Fred and Gunn's interaction. Mm-hmm. It seems so much more natural.
Yeah.
As opposed to Wesley's kind of like nerdy pining for her.
Yeah, because that's what I think. I maybe am implying that it may not apply to Gunn. Because I do think that they're showing them interacting, and it seems to just like fit. And they don't really even need to explain it. Just them together works. Where I do think that Wesley is kind of like, it's pining for her. He likes the idea of her at this point more than actually likes her. Right. Which doesn't mean that he couldn't grow to like her. I think he just likes the idea of her more.
I mean, I also like how she interacts with Angel because...
Yeah, and then the Angel thing is completely different.
Because I think Angel does see like a little sister in her. Mm-hmm.
It's his starter kid for really.
And it was another person after his epiphany that he truly got to help. You know what I mean?
I think I actually don't know the gender of Angel Watcher, and I've been calling him, which might not even be true. But they definitely bring some points up with Cordelia's feelings for Fred seem accelerated to a very large degree, and Fredless.
Right.
And there's definitely arguments to be made, because I'm pretty much inferring how Wesley and Gunn see Fred. But the one thing I think they definitely did is establish why Angel cares about her. And they did that mostly in Pylea, where because the thing is that Angel just assumed that everyone wouldn't want to be around him, which wasn't necessarily the truth.
Right.
But there was Fred who didn't care when he turned into a monster.
Right.
And just unconditionally accepted him. And then just moving forward, it just became this... She was someone who saw the good in him, and she didn't know him. And I think that's what affected him more than Cordelia telling him that his friends telling him he's not bad, as this person who's a stranger sees that that there's goodness in me.
Right. So the handsome man. Yeah. And it goes into with that purity thing.
Yeah.
They did play up the everyone adores her in that in that moment, in that scene in Friendless. But to me, it felt like they were trying to, like, play up the fact that she might actually just leave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, oh, she's actually gone. And then, haha, ta-da, she's back.
There are definite elements where she is bordering on being a Mary Sue, where she is just perfect in every single way.
Right.
And she's not a real person. And it's not bothering me yet. Now that I'm aware of it, it might start to bother me more, but I think it was more that she was just innocent and this thing that she was like a little baby bird that they nurtured back to health, and I think that's why they're attached to her.
Right.
At this point, moving from Fredless onward, and I think they've done a pretty good job, she needs to become a more independent person.
Which I feel like they have done. I mean, it didn't help that immediately after Fredless we had Billy. Yeah. But I did like the fact that they did have the resolution of that episode with her taking out the two boys. Mm-hmm. So worked, and they can still build on that. Mm-hmm. And I really do hope that she doesn't. Not to say that she's going to turn into Cordelia, but like she can be independent and reliable, but still be very different. And I hope she still like fills that role. Like, I really do like the idea that we get these two different kind of personalities with Cordelia and Fred.
Mm-hmm. And there's a good point of what... It's not so much that she's another smart person. I think she approaches things in a way that Wesley doesn't.
Right.
And the other thing is that Wesley has kind of evolved beyond being the smart problem solver, where he has this really complicated thing, darker undertow going to him, which I think is more interesting than being the smart person. So I think he's moving beyond that. And there is a good point that Fred doesn't really buck any of the stereotypes of what she's been presented as. There's nothing hidden about her or surprising about her. And I think you can say that about Gunn as well. I mean, you can say that about everyone, including Gunn, who probably has the least amount of characterization.
Right.
Gunn was introduced as like this young teenage punk, but we get that there's a real heart underneath him.
Right. All of the characters kind of fill stereotypes and characterizations.
But then they also contradict them.
They have depth to them. Right.
But Fred, so far, he is right that I don't know what Fred does that's different than being the nerdy smart girl.
Right. And they haven't done, they're developing her, like she's just so new mm-hmm. that we haven't actually gotten any real complexity to her. Like the most complexity that we have is that she is still kind of not broken, but affected by Pylea.
Yeah. And I think she's accepted more easily because she's not competent when they bring her in. The fact that she is a baby bird who she stays in her nest and they have to deliver food to her. She really is.
I guess
like
so.
It's not Wesley and Lorne who are competent people when they are brought into the group. Like Gunn, I disagree that Gunn wasn't immediately brought in because Gunn really is. They don't use Gunn.
Right.
But he is in the group and he's like involved for all. And once Angel leaves, he's really becomes incorporated.
Right.
Because he becomes their muscle. But the fact is that Lorne and Wesley came in and they're outsiders. And the fact that Lorne isn't brought in is because of this, what I said. He has Caritas, so he doesn't need Angel investigations. Now, I'm expecting that he's going to be brought in, and I don't know if it's the first time anybody's calling him Lorne, but I definitely noticed that Cordelia calls him Lorne in this episode.
Huh.
Because before they were just calling him the host. Even in this season, when we found out his real name, they were still calling him the host. But Cordelia, I definitely noticed that Cordelia calls him Lorne in this, which is just about as significant as Darla switching from it to him when referring to his son. So
yeah, I mean that's interesting. I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, without Caritas, like he does definitely fill a role. He brings something that the group doesn't have with the whole reading and just his overall personality, because he's kind of bright, colorful.
One last. Do you have something else you want to say? Because to wrap up.
Well, I'm just we can. I'm just wondering about, like, do you feel like Fred brings anything else? But I mean, we've talked a little bit, or at least we've talked a little bit, kind of how she plays off the other characters. Mm-hmm. But is the smart thing, is the physics thing enough, or does it feel like reaching? Because
it feels like reaching. I think Fred's real contribution to the group is just the way that she approaches situations which are not linear. I think it's more that than that she's just smart and she has things to say. Because really, Wesley and her have become a two-headed exposition monster. Where they go off into a room together and then they come and we found out this, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I do think it's becoming a problem, but I think I get the sense that they're moving towards something. And the other thing that I want to say that we haven't talked about is it is quick that the trauma is over. And I think we talked about that she should really just be broken for about 3 years, really.
Right.
So it's accelerated, but it doesn't bother me. And the only thing that I really disagree with in Angel Watcher's comment is that they didn't do a good job with her before Fredless. Because everything else I think is up to interpretation. But the one thing that I don't, because I think they give her little things to do in each episode where we see and she's slowly kind of progressing out of her room. And she's slowly starting to talk to more people than Angel. And then we get to Fredless where it works. The trauma is over in 44 minutes.
Right.
And I'm not disagreeing that that's not fast. Yeah. I just think from a dramatic standpoint, they do a lot more with her than they do with, I think, any other character. I don't really remember how they bring Wesley into the group. I think that happened relatively quickly, too, though.
It happened quickly, but the thing was, and it wasn't addressed because the real problem with bringing Wesley in was that because Doyle just died. Mm-hmm.
I remember more that Wesley's in every episode, and it was just like he's felt a part of the group as soon as he came in. The thing was that Angel didn't seem ready to accept him.
Right.
And I think that was more of the struggle there. And I think that has to be colored with Doyle dying.
It was. I mean, they addressed it when he calls Wesley Doyle.
But that's a while. I think that is not a while after Wesley's...
It's a few episodes, yeah. Once Advanced Bosoms or whatever, that whole conversation.
Yeah. So I think that's why Wesley... It takes so long for Wesley to be included. Because it's just different situations. Like, I think Gunn is pretty much included right away.
Yeah, they just don't necessarily use Gunn. I think what's forgiving, like why I forgive how quickly they accelerate the Fred storyline is because we don't really know her and because she's new.
I think I also might forgive it just because she's another female character who's not evil.
That too, and I also, because the storylines have been pretty dark up until that point, like having someone who isn't necessarily so down and depressed actually kind of helps. Like, let's just get past, okay, you were in trauma, now let's just keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I like the different kind of energy she brings to the group, so.
All right. So, real quick before we get to favorite points and squares, Alicia and Megs both sent me videos of Christian Kane cooking. Alicia actually sent me, it's not Kane's Kitchen. He was on some other web cooking show, which had a ridiculous opening.
I Googled that one. I saw that one.
Okay.
But
No. So the one that his actual cooking show is the most ridiculous opening I've ever seen. because honestly, I'm unironically excited to watch it. Because, okay, so here's the thing. He talks about cooking like he's amazing at it or whatever. I forget his exact words. He's like walking on the street, and then they go to shots of him cooking, and then it goes from the shots to comic book drawings of him, like he's in mid-action scenes, like slicing peppers. It is like the most hardcore cooking show that I've ever seen.
That seems insane.
It is insane, and it's glorious. It's like and his song, the music video that we talked about, is playing throughout the entire trailer. Everything about it is just wonderful. And I'm going. It's a Facebook link, so I don't know when it's airing. I think it might be. I don't know. It's just wonderful. I will put it on the post on the WordPress because it's something that everyone needs to experience. Not just members of the Kane Nation, just the world. To be honest, I'm enjoying Christian Kane's outside life of Angel so much that it's becoming just genuine enjoyment, not just ironically laughing at him.
That's pretty funny. Oh no, you're gonna be like
I'm a member
of Kane Nation.
I am it. Count me in. My immigration papers are already ready to join Kane Nation.
Kane addict.
Okay. All right. Anyway, let's go to favorite moment and scores.
Okay. For me, I went with the Darla breakdown of the I won't be able to love it. I won't even be able to remember that I loved it, and I want to remember. It was, just more Julie Benz acting that just really wowed me, and it was really emotional. And I love that we got an Angel. Like anytime they have an Angel and Darla scene, it seemed to work really, really well. And
what's the last time we're going to get one of those?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that we'll never see Darla again because we have 400 years of Darla as a vampire, but
right.
I hope at least this is the last time we see human Darla.
Yeah, there would be something so cheap about bringing her back. Mm-hmm. Which I know in this universe, like, they commented on it before about how easily people just keep getting brought back, but there's just something very final about her death in this episode. So I really loved the two of them, kind of like her breaking down into Angel's arms and them kind of consoling each other. I thought it worked really well.
Okay. So I went with her actual death scene, especially her. What I really like about that is you see from when she says, "This child is the only good thing we did together," and you see her look, and she sees the steak, and she grabs it while Angel's so distracted, and he's so holding her. He's not even looking at her.
Right.
And no one knows what she's about to do but her. And then she just does it.
Yeah.
And just the final thing she says to him is to make sure you tell him that. Is just, there's no other end for her character that works as well as this.
Right. I love it, and it feels so like full circle. I love that they play the like theme that they were playing for her before.
Well, even before that, in that scene where she says, she calls Angel dear boy, and then she starts rubbing her stomach and talking to her son.
Right.
Which is, perverse Darla stuff, but it also works to bring her full circle that, and our baby's going to die in an alley. You died in an alley, remember?
Right.
So there's just so much about that and why it works that it might be my single favorite scene to date.
I mean, there really is just so much. I think you're right because it is full circle. It has so much history to it that there's so much weight going on, and I really love. That scene obviously is amazing. So scores. I really like this a lot. I wanted to give it a really, really high score, but we did talk a little bit about some of the goofiness, like the grenade, the prophecy, doing that again, that kind of are little ticks against it, but I'm still going to give this, I think I'm going to give this an 85 out of 100.
Okay. So you're wrong. I ended up giving it an 89. Okay. I didn't break into the 90s because of the reasons that we discussed. Like, this hits more hot. Reunion and this are still the two best episodes for me. The thing with Reunion is it's like a pulpy angel revenge flick where it doesn't let up at any moment. Where this has hills and valleys, and the highs are higher than Reunion, I think, ever really gets. Maybe when Angel lets all the Wolfram Heart people die. There might be some similar qualities, but everything else is at such a high level, but then we bring down to the goofiness of the prophecy and just everything. I mean, I'm willing to accept, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief when it comes to how exactly this magic's working and the fact that Angel doesn't die. Well, Angel shouldn't die. We should say that. The grenade should not kill him. It should burn his face off.
Yeah.
If it is powerful enough to send him through metal doors, it should do something more than cause a little bit of soot on his face.
Right. The only thing that would have it would have helped if he just kind of kicks it away from him a little bit.
Yeah.
But the problem is he can't really kick it towards Holtz and Lila.
No, so he kicks it in front of his face. It's like 6 inches, maybe less.
I mean, it's cool and dramatic. Like,
no, it's just cool. It's not cool. It's dumb. Anyway, so why I gave it an 89. We're going off topic. I gave it an 89 because it's not as good as Reunion for a couple reasons, even though it hits moments that are higher than Reunion.
Right.
So Reunion is still the only episode I scored in the 90s. But
I still have not broken the 90s yet.
Yeah, well, and who's Mr. Negative now?
Negative Nancy.
I don't know what you're holding out for. Actually, I do know.
I do, but that's not fair to wait until that. But yeah, if you'd like to leave us some feedback, you can do so by commenting on the post at theangelrewatch.wordpress.com.
Or you can send an email to angelrewatch@gmail.com.
Or you can call our voicemail number at 206-203-3276.
Or you can go to the Tumblr, which is angelrewatch.tumblr.com, to see all the reviews archived there and the guests of whatever episode we are watching that week.
We're available on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. While you're there, leave us a review. It really helps promote the show. You can follow me on Twitter at NerdGuyWilliam.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr at The Confortador.
And next time, we'll be reviewing Dad, where Angel tries to keep his son safe from the many demons, vampires, and humans who are after the baby.